Press it. Press it, motherfucker.
Oh, David,
Press it.
Tell me.
Press it.
How
I got them bills.
How do you?
I got bees.
How do you view money that I don't view money? Enlighten me. This is something I would really love to hear.
Oh, you know what? This is already starting off exactly how it should. It's you being pious and looking down on other people, as we know you do. Clearly.
You clearly just said that you don't view money how I view money. I don't know what that implies.
You're like, oh, you don't view money.
I
know money.
I want you to explain. I want you to explain.
See, you're still.
What? No. What I'm asking you is, what did you mean by that statement? Go ahead.
I said.
Why don't you not only tell me how I view it? Why don't you tell me how you view it?
I'm not going to tell you how you view it because I'm a libertarian, Dan.
You clearly.
I don't enforce my views on anyone.
You clearly
else.
had to know.
I said
something.
I view my money differently. How you view your money?
So okay, so obviously
I view my money.
If you're saying that there's a distinction,
do you want my answer? Or do you want to just keep talking down to me like I'm some kind of?
If you're saying there's a distinction, you must have
here.
some sort of assumption about how I view it. But go ahead.
No, you're.
I'm listening.
You're a pig. First of all, you're a capitalist pig dog. And you only want to see more money in your pocket and as much human suffering as possible while it goes there. So, moving on to how I view money.
Fair.
Thank you. How I view money is it's the amount of freedom that you have. And follow me on this one. I'm sure you don't have to follow me very far. It's the freedom. $5 gives you the freedom to buy one packet of ramen noodles without worrying about...
Ramen's up to $5 now? God damn, this pandemic economy is tragic.
I didn't say that. It's 39 cents. You still got that fucking 4, whatever the math is. I'm not good at it. And change left to go. Like, the more money you have, the more willing you are... Oh, Jesus Christ. The more money you have, the more freedom you have to choose things that will behoove your life. Am I wrong? Like, you can't take a trip to Tahiti on a $500 budget. It's just not going to work.
Okay.
But if you have $100,000 in the bank account, then yeah, trip to Tahiti. Yeah, what's $1,000 here, $1,000 there? You know, that kind of thing. So, yes, I view it as the amount of freedom that I don't have to commit any brain cells to figuring out whether or not I can afford to do this thing. That's how I view money. And I want all of it so I don't have to think ever again. And it's debatable whether I do at all beforehand. So I would like the bank account to go with the bank.
You know what? And now I'm glad I asked because now I can correct you and show you exactly
being
where you
the pious pig capitalist that you are.
And showing you exactly where you were wrong.
Where's am I wrong?
See, because you got, I don't know, maybe you've been listening to maybe too many people that you know are lefties, you know, filling your head with...
Oh, those goddamn lefties.
Filling your head with memes that need to be destroyed.
Preach love and prosperity.
But I don't, and I don't know anybody that does, view money as simply numbers in an account that you can look at and see, oh my God, it's going up. I'm so happy. I view money the exact same way you do. Money is just a means to an end, and that end is freedom. If you have the money to be able to take care of your basic needs, whatever those may be.
Don't forget to oink Piggy.
Whatever those may be. The
Pinky Piggy.
The fundamental...
Porky.
The fundamental benefit of having money, to me, is the freedom to not trade hours for dollars. And that if you have money to take care of your basic needs and you can go off and do whatever gives you pleasure in this world, then you've succeeded.
Whatever gives you pleasure?
Whatever. Let's not delve too far into the mind of David on that one. Even if it comes on an island
and a private plane flight with questionable...
Ain't touching that one with a 10-foot pole.
Well, let's go 30. How about that?
By the way, we're getting out front on this Ghislaine Maxwell thing. She did not kill herself. Okay?
Ghislaine.
Is that her name? Ghislaine? Ghislaine? I don't know.
Well, let's go with Ghislaine.
Whatever. Everybody knows who we're talking about. Before she kills herself, she didn't kill herself.
Before the Corona kills herself with 2 bullets in the head.
All right. So anyway, now that David and I know that we're both on the same page, despite his completely erroneous assumptions about the way I view money.
And despite his completely pious looking down upon me for my peasant's view of money.
That's how David did to me.
Erroneous on that account.
Let's get into the next episode. Welcome to Weapons of Meme Destruction Podcast, episode 23, found at wmdpodcast.com/23, all your podcast catchers and YouTube. We know the signy language. So today's episode...
We have a guest speaker today.
We do? This is news to me.
Is it? It's sitting on my lap right now, staring at us.
It's the P. What's up, P?
So we have
David, tell the people about P. They've actually heard her in previous episodes.
If you've ever heard a dog barking
the
in the
true
back,
memes
right,
have been listening from day one.
Start to finish with us. If you're a ride or die bitch, like we hope you all are, you've heard her in the background. She's made cameos, but never a full appearance. Well, now she's in the studio with us, and would you like to say a few words, P? She's a little tongue-tied right now.
Take that as a no.
She's a little ball of hate that's about 14 pounds of solid wiener.
Too descriptive of a descriptiveness.
She's the dachshund, otherwise known as a wiener dog. And
His eyes are getting low. She's looking like she's about ready to pass out.
Yep, she's kind of tired of our shit.
Was she 14, 15?
She's about to be 15. About to be 15 in January.
15-year-old little baby.
She's
got baby
the
puppy.
She looks more like a seal than a wiener or a dog, but she's
the unofficial mascot of WMD Podcast.
Correct. So aside from the porcupine, we also have the wiener dog.
Okay, so she's listening to
I'm sure she's got some viewpoints that she'll share later.
She's listening to the chaos that is WMD Podcast, but I don't know how much she'll have to contribute.
Right. Hopefully nothing.
With that being said, let's tell you what we're going to contribute to. So episode 23 is about
a bad relationship that
has somehow managed to go worse
pitifully.
And New York is crying like the jilted lover from a bad 1980s like song ballad.
I can't.
Don't go, baby.
Lose you too.
What we're talking about, and we've kind of hinted at it on past episodes, usually referring to California, about how businesses are leaving California left, right, and center. Well, there's a funny little clip, which we will put in the show notes on this page. It comes from a Fee article, but it's actually a clip from Squawk Box on CNBC, where the host is interviewing Representative Thomas Susie, who is a representative in the Florida, I don't know if he's Florida House or whatever. Anyway, he's a Florida. Jesus, I just said it like 3 times, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
God, wake up, Dane.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's a New York,
not Florida, New York.
But the company that he's talking to is moving to Florida. That's where he made the mistake. It's fine. We're all human, albeit I'm superhuman. But you can be human anytime.
David, thank you for the save on that. That's what we have. That's why we pay you the big bucks.
Well, that's why I fight crime at night.
A New York representative. His name is Thomas Susie. And he was on, like I said, CNBC's Squawk Box. If you don't know what that is, that's a financial show on CNBC where they talk about stocks and companies.
Are there any boxes
different
involved?
Things like that. Not as far as I know.
Correct.
Anyway, when asked about Goldman Sachs' plan to move from New York to Florida, Representative Susie said, and I quote, "Please don't leave us." Now, this is it's
uncomfortable.
Roughly 6.5 minute segment, which you'll be able to see in the article that we link. But basically, it amounts to a 6-minute pleading with Goldman Sachs from Representative Susie not to leave.
Have you ever seen that in public?
Oh, like somebody like begging for their...
it's so fucking uncomfortable. You feel uncomfortable for the person. But like, at the same time, you also know that it's like everything you're begging for is exactly what's pushing him away. Like, or her, him or her. It's like, no, you can't leave me. Like, we had such a good thing together and I love you and you don't understand. And I'll change. I'll do it. And like everything like your butthole's clenching tighter with each sentence. And it's like, dude, just say, fuck it. Yeah, go see if it's better over there. Just lose, but go out like a fucking champion. Go out on your shield. Don't go out, please, I'm nothing without you. I need you so bad. You see, I bet the listener right there, when they heard that fucking pitch and when they heard those words come out of my mouth, I bet you at least 2 people's buttholes puckered on that. At least. Can you help me?
Yeah. And you know, it's listen.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. And I personally, I haven't seen that live in real time, but I mean, we're all familiar with it. We've all heard songs that talk about it, all that kind of stuff.
Before you go, was there something I could have said? Okay, we've all heard it.
Are you done?
Is that trademarked? I went under 15 seconds.
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. I'm not a patent lawyer or a trademark attorney or anything like that. I don't know.
Are you even a real attorney?
I'm not.
You just play one.
I got my license. Played one on TV. I stayed at a Holiday Inn last night, and I got my license out of a Cracker Jack box.
Fucking say.
So anyway, to just give you a little backstory on this. So even before coronavirus happened, now again, this is one representative in the New York legislature, so you know it may just be one guy. We haven't dug deep enough to figure out if he happens to be a Democrat. That's neither here nor there, but you know, just throwing that out there. Now, the state of New York was facing a $13 billion budget deficit before coronavirus. Before the state decided to lock down for months on end, throw tons of their tax base completely out of work, put hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people out of work, put thousands of businesses, completely shutter them for good. You know, that's what New York was facing. And, you know, with an unemployment rate standing at roughly 9.6% in New York, you can see why Representative Susie is concerned. He's like, oh, well, if it was that bad before coronavirus, now major employers like Goldman Sachs also want to leave. You can see the kind of 1980s, you know, jilted lover ballad kind of tone that he's taking. Oh, you're thinking about 1984.
I was waiting for you to say 1984.
Yeah, that's what you said. So he's concerned. He's concerned that even more people are going to be now unemployed or good high paying jobs, which New York can, you know, suck out of the taxpayer base. At a high rate is now going to leave, and he's concerned, and that's why he says, "Oh, please, Goldman Sachs, please don't leave."
Oh,
and
it's fucking uncomfortable.
I know it's gross,
it's so cringeworthy.
Now, as Florida residents, as you know about your 2 lovely co-hosts,
get the fuck out of here! You're driving up the real estate prices, you pieces of shit.
Well, I mean, that might be one problem, but we welcome Goldman Sachs and all Goldman Sachs employees. Welcome to sunny Florida. Welcome to one of the few states in the country that hasn't lost its collective fucking
That's
mind.
figured out how to run the fucking entire state on sales tax and not ripping you the fuck off.
Yeah. Welcome. No state income tax. Welcome. We are happy to have you, and we are glad you're coming.
But hold on. But Dane, at this current juncture, aren't we being heralded as one of the most unyieldy coronavirus states ever?
Yeah, but fuck those people because the data doesn't bear that out. We're right in the middle of the pack. We're actually doing better than New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, California.
But our governor,
you know, the lockdowners in chief. So, you know.
The governor might be hiding numbers.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, getting back to the topic.
You will pay attention to me.
Getting back to the topic at hand. So here's the 3 key points that we want to talk about in today's episode is, listen, states have to compete. That is the whole purpose of our federal system.
Competition good.
I forget who came up with the concept of the states as laboratories, but basically that's the idea. So the 50 states have, you know, they retain enough of their own sovereignty to try things from a policy perspective to say, well, hey, can this work better than the state next to me or the state across the country? And if it does, then other states are free to adopt those policies. And that's good. Which brings us to the second point of when the states are allowed to compete in this way, we, the people, the alleged ones that are supposed to have the authority in this country, we win. If the states compete, we win. Remember that Lending Tree commercial? I think that's still like their tagline. When banks compete, you win. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I do. Yes.
The one about like when you're trying to get better mortgage rates, and a bunch of banks compete for your.
You know which one I prefer though to that one?
What? J.G. Wentworth. I want my money and I want it now or some shit like that.
You know me too
That's
well.
structured settlements, bro. It's a different
cash
thing.
now. It's cash. What fucking marketing? Whoever they hired, we need to hire for this podcast because
Anyway,
we are bleeding.
Let's not get too far afield here. The point is, when states are allowed to compete,
I need it now.
Thank you.
A bunch of geriatrics screaming out the window.
Yeah,
nobody.
Because we all have a bunch of structured settlements. Anyway,
exactly.
Anyway, so yeah, when the states compete, we win because based on the competition between those states of different policies, we as the American citizen can say, well, I think I might fare better in this state versus that state. And it's an easy move from New York to, say, Florida than it is from New York to France, right? It's a lot easier. You don't have to go through citizenship requirements and all that kind of stuff. You just move from one state to another, buy a house, everything's fine, right? And finally, and kind of the overarching meme that we feel is being lost more and more in American society is personal accountability.
What? What is that?
Now
Can you explain that for a second?
We understand that the government is not an individual, so they don't have personal accountability in the same way you and I do, dear listener. But that if they imbued this concept of personal accountability, maybe instead of blaming their tax base and saying,
their lifeblood,
why are you leaving us? They would look internally and say, what policies are pushing people away from our state? Let's change those policies. Let's be more competitive with the Floridas of the world. And let's try to, maximize freedom. Let our citizens keep more of the hard-earned money that they worked for, and maybe they might stay. So those are the key points that we want to talk about in today's episode, and that's exactly what we intend to do. David, tell me why New York is filled with a bunch of bitches. Go.
Well, it all started in 1776. There was a new country.
There were some gangsters back then.
Yeah.
Back then, they were like, hey, Crown, guess what? Fuck you. Next.
Listen, I want my tea at this price. If you raise it one iota more,
I'm going to shoot you in your fucking face.
Fuck you up with this one bullet that I have in my gun, and it takes me 5 minutes to put another one in. But that's how serious.
And now, fast forward a couple hundred years, New York is like, oh, please, Emperor Como, please lock us down some more.
Oh,
please install more mask mandates.
Let's not say that. Let's not make a gigantic assumption about New York.
Not about all New Yorkers. This is not about New Yorkers in general. This is about the government of New York. And, listen.
I was there when it was in its heyday. I loved New York. I was like, I could see myself here. But then I was like, oh, wait, there's like a cubicle for every living person that costs $1 million. I don't think I can afford that.
In the city, there's a lot of open space in New York.
Do you want to live in country New York? No one, whenever anyone says New York, they don't mean Albany. They mean fucking New York, New York.
Okay, fine, but different strokes for different folks. What I want to focus on is the tax rates.
Tax rates?
Yeah.
Why would you want to focus on that, Dane? Is that the lifeblood and how you run a state?
Not just in how you run a state, but if I, as an individual citizen, right, if I have a smorgasbord of 50 different jurisdictions that I can live and work in, and I say, let me make a pros and cons list for each. Why would I want to live in New York? And to your point, let's just focus on New York City.
Sure.
Okay? If I want to live in New York City, pros list. Cultural center of the world. A lot of glitz and glam, a lot of things to do.
Why? Because that's where you've been told your entire life that that's where it's at, right? Before,
but it is though.
Not to take anything away from it. You can feel like when you walk on the streets there, you feel the like vibration, and it's fucking amazing. It is amazing, and there's nothing to take away from it. So why won't you let that be your lifeblood? Why would you want?
You're talking about from the New York politicians' perspective.
Correct. From running the state. Let that be your guide. Like, you want more people there. More people means more business, means more opportunity, means everything. You go to New York to get found. You go to New York to become what you want to become, because that's what they're selling. If that's what you're selling, why are you taxing chasing
it's the city
that
of
dream
light.
30 fucking percent.
It's the city of lights. It's where dreams come true. Like listen, don't misunderstand us.
We like New York. We love. I mean, I don't. I've got friends that live there. Like
Right. Like
family members.
New York City, there's a reason why it is a cultural mecca all around the world. There's a reason why it's one of the great cities in all of the world. Like, this is not an indictment of the people of New York.
Correct.
or the people that happen to live in New York City. This is an indictment of your political masters that are in control of your jurisdiction of New York, that are driving people away from you for reasons that are completely, if not completely devoid of what it is that makes you New Yorkers and makes you, kind of the draw that draws people from all over the world to you.
Hey, we're walking in.
It's at least greatly attenuated from what it is that makes you great as a state, as a city, and all that stuff.
But all that being said, that's all pre-COVID stuff. All the stuff that came out, all these people. By the way, that was the same city that Pelosi. I forgot the other guy's name. Cuomo, everyone was saying it's safe to travel here. Everyone's saying it's safe. You should go down to Chinatown. There's nothing wrong with Chinatown because China was, correlated with the disease. Yeah. And then Pelosi's walking around. Was it Pelosi or was it Cuomo?
I don't know. It was probably not Pelosi. Pelosi's from California.
One figurehead was walking through Chinatown saying, it's totally fine to come down here. It's totally safe. It's probably keep Cuomo. Traveling. Right. And then all of a sudden, now they're the ones, stay inside. We've always been saying this. We're the party of science. Like, well, if we look at the record, that doesn't count. Like, fuck you. So there's been mistakes made on all sides. That's all I'm trying to say.
So this is what brings us back to the first point that we raised about states are going to compete. Like, that is the beauty of American federalism. That's the point. That's the entire point of the political structure that this country has set up from its founding, is that states are independent, sovereign jurisdictions. And yes, naturally, for cultural reasons and everything in between, they're going to have different policy outcomes. And that's fine. If New York wants to lock down and wants to tax people out the wazoo and everything that New York does, that's fine. I don't live in New York. I'm not susceptible other than my federal taxes going to any, local programs in New York. Other than that, I, as a Florida resident, am not beholden to the political decisions that are made in New York. Fine. Now, if those decisions happen to work out great for New York and Florida politicians look at that and say, I think that's a good idea, we should adopt that in Florida, and they do it, good. All the better, because not only are Florida residents, but also not only are New York residents, but also Florida residents made better off for it. Everybody wins. However, the converse is true. If a state makes a bad decision,
if you finger me one more time, I'll fucking lose it.
If a state locks down its population for 8 months at a time, or if it taxes its citizens into oblivion to the point that its citizens are just like, fuck this, I'm out. I'm going to a lower tax jurisdiction like Florida. Okay, fine. Why you bitching, bruh?
This just became the healthcare debate. You do realize that, right?
Well, we can't go off on that tangent.
I'm not going to, but I'm going to stay here. But you say that it doesn't matter, but now it does. You say that the things that they affected up in New York doesn't affect us. But what I'm saying is, the thing that I screamed into the microphone earlier is that it does affect us, because when you drive people out of your state, it drives people to other states. Now it's affecting our state.
Right. You're exactly right.
And our real estate values, being in the housing market that we're looking for right now.
Not just that, but I'm thinking more of the macro. They tend to vote in the same way in the new place they go to that they did in the last place. So they bring their policies with them, and that's a problem.
I.e., keep Texas red, with all those people going from California to Texas.
Right.
So on and so forth. Like, it insists upon itself, as Peter Griffin would say.
But before we get into crystal ball gazing and predicting the future about whether Texas is going to turn blue or whether Florida is going to get more blue with more New Yorkers from Goldman Sachs, et cetera, coming to Florida, just the general principle of states are going to compete And
That's a good thing.
leading into point 2, and that we win when that happens, we're cheering that aspect of it. Now, Florida complaining or saying, "Oh, don't leave me, baby." Like,
You said Florida again.
sorry, New York. New York saying, "Don't leave me, baby." Like, listen, just as you would tell that same person who's telling their significant other not to leave, we would tell that person, and we would tell the politicians of New York, don't look at who's leaving. Look within.
Right.
Look within. Why are they leaving? Are they leaving because there's something wrong with them? Or are they leaving because you are taking, 30+% of their income? Are you making it hard for them to conduct business there? Or, as Goldman Sachs has said, part of the reason why they're moving to Florida is not just so that they as a corporation can save money, but also the talent that they want to employ to hire them will say, if Goldman Sachs hires me in the state of New York and I face a state income tax of, I don't know, whatever New York's is, it's higher than 0, and Florida's is 0 state income tax, where would I rather, again, going back to that pros and cons list, where would I rather work? Right? Florida. So if Goldman Sachs wants to recruit,
not only for the weather, by the way.
Okay, weather, but that's neither here nor there for the purpose of policy. Like the weather we can't change, the policies we can. So if Goldman Sachs is saying, I want to hire the best talent, I want to retain that talent, the employees are going to be like, I would prefer to go to the jurisdiction which isn't going to take a large percentage of my paycheck. And that's not an unreasonable thing for the current and future employees to want to say. So again, when states compete, people win. It's not just that Goldman Sachs is winning by paying less taxes to New York. It's also that the employees, the people that they hire, are paying less taxes because now they're in Florida as opposed to New York. And that's a good thing, because when the states compete amongst themselves, then policies get better across all states. And freedom, at least in theory, is maximized. And why is that a bad thing? I challenge you, David, to tell me why that's a bad thing.
I'll tell you why.
You tell me why.
When you're free, you can't be controlled. And when you can't be controlled, we can't tell you what to do. And when you can't tell you what to do, don't you understand that you could potentially affect someone else's life in a way that they did not intend for you to affect it? Don't you understand that, Dane? Don't you understand any of this? That's why we've been locked down for 9 months. That's why you haven't been able to go out and see any of your friends, because God forbid, if you had the freedom to do so, you might kill them. Or at least their grandmother. Which is why we made these policies to begin with. And you can't hold our policies against us because we are trying to help you. We're trying to help you, Dane.
Oh, so I think what you're getting at is your intentions, regardless of the outcomes, your intentions are what I should focus on.
Definitely
not what actually
There's
happened.
definitely not a saying that says that good intentions can lead to bad results. I couldn't
something
think
about intentions and hells and paths and
paths
like that.
like streets, roads, cobbled stones. I don't know.
Taxation is theft.
Taxation is theft. Whatever you want to say. Whatever you want to say. It's definitely every time that you've had good intentions, there's only been good results, and you have to judge the results off of the intentions.
90% of the time, every time, good intentions lead to good results.
I just wanted to keep our marriage safe and spicy. That's why I slept with that little Latina the other night. To change it up, to spice it up.
Why'd you have to put it on the guy? Listen, we catch enough flack for being the pariahs of society.
Did I give any denotion of gender right there? Dane, you just gender attacked me. Microaggressed my gender attack.
All right. Anyway, and kind of launching off that last little metaphor David had, point 3, and to wrap this whole thing up, personal accountability. Now, it's easy.
Whoa! Hold on! In a country...
That's a foreign concept.
In a country that I should have the freedom to eat whatever I want, but I want free medical care to take care of the things that I shove down my fucking gullet. How dare you try to take away my freedom from accountability? Again, to define my state is accountability and freedom go hand in hand. However, freedom is not the freedom from accountability. Your actions have consequences.
Implicit in freedom.
And no one else is responsible for your actions but you. Holy fuck. What a concept.
Did you just have an epiphany?
Holy shit. You mean what? The thing that I fucked up as a state that another state is profiting from? I can't sue them because I fucked up my state? Oh shit.
Yeah. Now, it's easy to think of it in the metaphor David was drawing is like, you know, if you, again, we use this example just as kind of a catch-all, but it applies equally in a lot of different situations.
But it's the only applicable thing over everyone's life.
If you're gonna stuff 4 double quarter pounders down your throat a day, and you happen to have negative health outcomes from that,
shocking.
Why you would expect other people to pay for your negative health outcomes seems to be a little bit selfish. Now, again, maybe we're just, terrible people for saying that.
Forgive us for saying that.
As they say, in the empire of lies, truth is treason. But in that individual concept, we're going to extrapolate that out to the macro of a state and its actions. So if the voters of New York continue to elect people like Representative Tom Suozzi and other people in the New York legislature, which think it's a good idea to tax people into oblivion, to lock its tax base down for 8 to 9 months and wonder why they're not bringing in as much revenue as they were. I mean, forget the fact that they were $13 billion deficit shortfall pre-coronavirus. God knows what they're going to be now.
By the way.
If people are going to make those political decisions, and if the state, the jurisdiction of New York is going to do that, they have to take responsibility for those actions and understand that those with the means to leave, i.e. Goldman Sachs in this context, but in a lot of others, to leave to lower tax, lower burdensome jurisdictions like Florida, why would they not?
It's an advantage.
And why would you blame them for leaving?
Hold on.
You were the one that made them leave.
Well,
look within, my friend.
Their attitude was, this is our tax rate. This is what we're offering. We're the city of dreams, and where dreams come to life. We're the city of lights, or whatever the fuck you want to say. And we will base our politics off of that. And if you don't like it, there's millions of other cities you can go to. Which was kind of the same thing that LA did, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, that's to bring it back to Gavin Newsom and what he's done to that fucking state and the exodus out of there. That's the mentality that they had. Like, if you want to, you got to pay to play. If you want to come here and want to make your dreams come true,
right? You
have to pay. That's risk reward.
Okay.
Value over, this, that, and the other. However, what a commoner will do is they'll blame the corporation for getting the tax benefit, saying, listen, I'll sign to make my headquarters here as long as we get this tax rate and we're not really hampered by it. But we're also going to be employing a lot of high salary income employees, and you can tax them at your current rate. Fair is fair, and love and war, here you go. So now we're at this state where we're at the state where people are saying this is no longer a viable contract. I'm going to leave now.
Yeah.
And now they're begging them not to stay because they made it
they're begging them to stay.
Well, yeah, begging them to stay because they made it so unsustainable, or as we'd call it in English, unsustainable.
Right. Their business model is now unsustainable.
Correct.
Right. And
through the mandates that they did through this virus.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, so the virus is one thing. Okay. And we're not going off on that tangent because we're wrapping up this episode and we're sticking as close to 30 minutes as we can because we've done a terrible job of that in the past, but here we go. The virus is one thing. Okay. The response to the virus need not be as draconian as it has been in some places.
Virus is a variable.
Again.
Variable.
Again, New York, which doesn't even have as old of a population as Florida, has chosen to go a certain route in response to this virus, which has driven companies like Goldman Sachs et al. Away. Florida has chosen not to do that. Now, we can get into the data and the science and whether or not that was a good decision or whatever. Okay, go ahead, have that fight. The point is, if a company or an individual does their cost-benefit analysis and says, I think this jurisdiction is preferable to that one, the quote-unquote that one jurisdiction, the one that they're leaving, needs to do some self-reflection.
Correct.
Needs to understand why it is that they drove away companies or individuals that would have otherwise contributed to their theft base,
by the way,
i.e. tax base. And if they choose not to do that, if they choose to blame, if they choose to not learn from those lessons,
which they do,
then let's not feel sorry for them. Let's say good for Florida, good for Texas, good for those states that made good policy decisions and attracted talent.
Good policy decisions? Question mark?
Well, again,
I've got my
neither here nor there.
May I?
But for attracting people, and the other states that lost those people, listen, it's not that now you have a decision. Change your policies or die. Not die in the literal sense, but die at like your economy's dying, everything else like that. Change or die.
All the states.
And that is exactly what a free people should expect of their governments.
Mishandling this virus, mishandling this thing, are where all these companies are moving to. Am I wrong? Texas was lambasted for opening it up. Florida was lambasted for being the epicenter of the corona explosion. Now, if that's the case, why would these companies be moving towards them?
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. Like, just it can't be all and it can't be none. It's got to be some of each. So policies, look at them, look at how the people react, and actually give a shit.
So to wrap this up, that's it, people.
That's it.
Listen, the purpose of federalism is for states to compete. And when states compete, the people win. And no matter what, in that competition, there has to be personal accountability. Personal accountability on the politicians that pushed for the policies that pushed people away. Also accountability for the politicians that brought people in. And if everybody looks at that from both sides of the spectrum, freedom will advance. And that's what we're shooting for.
There's no participation trophies in real life.
Exactly.
Well,
so now let's all go be free. Share this podcast episode with friends and family. Send them to WB.
Hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas, by the way.
Yes.
We totally glossed over that.
That was my fault. Thank you, David.
I hope you guys got all the PS5s, and if you're an Xbox person, I hope it fails on the first fucking day because you're a piece of shit.
Don't say that, guy.
I hope you turn it on and it just goes, we suck, blah, and it falls apart. If you got 2077, let us know how it's working for you on the PS5. Don't really care about the Xbox.
Very Merry Christmas. Very happy holidays to everybody else who doesn't celebrate Christmas. The next time you will hear from us, it'll be after the first of the year. We are hoping to start you off in 2021 with a laugh. Thanks for stopping by. Share this episode and all the episodes
and
with
all your eggnog
family.
Recipes, please. All the wicked eggnog recipes you can find. Let's go.
WNBpodcast.com/23. All your podcast catchers, go to YouTube, get them over to the website to sign up for that email list. Because as you know, dutiful listeners, you hear more from us on that than you do in these episodes once a week.
Tasteful.
Thanks for making 2020 as beautiful as you've made it. It was a rough year, but spinning it with all of you has been worth our while for sure.
And we
hope 2021 is
way
even
up.
Higher.
And 2021 is going to be, oh God.
God bless you, Mimis. See you in 2021.
Good night and good luck.